Yeah, time for some Type 40, extra Type 40 here for you exclusively on the Spacebook channel with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. Welcome back to the channel. Type 40 Extra is our before show, after show, and in between show. It's a great start, isn't it? And in between show to all the podcasts and live streams that we put out here on the Spacebook channel. This one's exclusive, only goes to video, and it's probably just as well, really, for all the things we're going to get stuck into on this edition of the show. I've had a great weekend. It's been warm. It's not been too stuffy either, so the weather's been fantastic. I've got lots of things done, and I've been keeping my eyes and ears open for Doctor Who goodies to bring before you out there on YouTube and Facebook, and to her too. I'm happy to say that I'm joined by Shah from Geek Rambles here in the console room too. Hello.
Hello. This is the first time we've ever done this, just us, isn't it? Isn't that crazy?
It is. I think, WhatsApp calls don't count, do they? There's other people listening this time.
Oh dear. No, we're doing very good.
Yeah. So I've been out there perusing social media and seeing what's going on in Doctor Who land, because it's a little bit quiet, isn't it? But are you still finding much to muse on in the 60th anniversary year? Because it's coming slowly, but it is coming, isn't it?
It's coming, but nothing that's like getting me, grabbing me and going, I want to see that. You know what I mean? But then again, you find gems out there that I'm sure we're going to get into that I never see. Maybe just because I'm the most unobservant person on the planet. Who knows? But I'm definitely not as observant as yourself.
Well, the truth of the matter is there isn't much to watch. Is that there's very, very little. There's a lot to listen to if you're so inclined and have a huge bank balance enough to spend, to lavish on Big Finish and things like that. But other than that, I think it's down to really whatever we can read, which brings us to the TARDIS, the real life TARDIS this time. This time we are in Michigan, Detroit, in Woodbridge, and this is a Doctor Who sort of book barn. Have you ever seen one of these things? They pop them up here and there. You get them in Britain sometimes, where people can sort of bring in books that they're done with and pick up other ones. They can pass them around and things.
Yeah, never in a TARDIS though. Always in those old-fashioned police boxes, phone boxes is where I find them usually. And there was
I've
one
seen
in
those as well.
My hometown. Yeah, don't really get them around here though. Interesting. I'm in London, by the way, just in case anyone wonders.
Are there any phone boxes left in London now?
Oh yeah, tons. But they're none of them are filled with books though, because they're all there for tourists to take photos. So it's they're well equipped with phones still, just not ones that work. I don't think. Photo
ops, that's what they are. I remember going into a phone box in London years ago, and it was covered in all these little cards with numbers on them and stuff, pictures of ladies. I could never figure out exactly what was going on there.
Ladies? Oh.
Yeah.
Which part were you in?
But are you a big reader, Shah? This is the thing. I mean, if there's no Doctor Who to watch, and the stuff that you listen to can be a bit pricey, you have to sort of cherry pick. Do you read much of the stuff?
It's in Doctor Who or just in general?
Generally, or Doctor Who, yeah.
I'm a huge reader. I've been lent Target books from my stepdad as well, so I'm really getting into those, and they're a lot better than I thought they'd be, I'll be honest. So I'm enjoying those. But in terms of reading in general, I love reading. I did English Lit as my chosen subject. Sound like I'm on Mastermind. I love reading. Did you actually? Hilarious. Okay. Yeah.
I did. Jane Austen, John Steinbeck, all that stuff. I know. I can read. No, I prefer graphic novels. So yeah, we are here in the 60th anniversary year of Doctor Who, scrolling the view screen across the Whoniverse, clocking those fixed points and the not so much off or on screen. And this time, the day has arrived. The day has come 3 months after we got that first shot across the bows when they dropped that Doomsday trailer. Do you remember that, Shah?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I looked so like. But it's fine. It's not something. How I see it is, it's not something I have to deal with because it's not canon to me. So I can deal with that just about.
The good news for you is that I'm not going to make you deal with it just yet, but I'm going to come in with my.
There's a very small millisecond of relief there, followed by instant dread. But that's okay. I can deal with that as well.
But we're live streaming this one over to YouTube and to Facebook, to the Type 40 Facebook group. Everybody there, hello, happy Monday, everybody. So let's go and see who dragged in, who's there already. But before we do, let's see who else has been dragged around in off the streets here. Check this out.
Oh my God, I'm a big fan. Thank you.
All right, good to see you.
Come on, man. Nice to meet you, mate.
All the best. Take care.
That's Doctor Who. I just met Doctor Who. Stop playing with me, bro. This is the type of places we be at. We meet Doctor Who. What are you doing?
Bless him.
He's smiling from ear to ear.
Oh, we've all been there though when we've met our doctors and all that sort of stuff, and I certainly was when I met mine. I'm sure you did too. I just love. That's the thing with Doctor Who. Like, no, you know what? How many have we had now? I'm gonna say 13 just for sake of argument. And
Would I
every
argue with
single
you?
one of them. Every single one of them has got that now, where there's going to be a fan base, a select group of people that are going to just going to be so happy to see you every time, and that is something you get to live with, and I just think that's great. Because that's it. He's done that now. That's like, I think Sylvester McCoy was the one who said, like, not saying that you're going to be shackled to the role, but we're going to be with you for life. And I think that's one of the only times you can ever. I can't think of any other program right now where you have that with different actors.
Now, Tennant said, I think when he first got the role in 2005, so this is nearly 20 years ago now, he said that he was well aware that, I know, do you need a moment?
That's all right, it's all right.
He said he was very well aware that the first line of his obituary was already written. That's scary thought. But we've got people here. We've got punters. We've got garbage. Hi, mate, he says.
Hi,
and
garbage.
I think he's talking to Richard. They're talking amongst themselves. Yeah, we get a lot of that.
Good old chinwag, yeah.
It's Doo-Doo's Day, said Richard Brooks.
How apt. Hope he's not talking about us.
Yeah, I think he could be. Could be.
Hello,
everybody.
Hey, Gary.
Says Gary Akers, the retro doc. There's people talking about The Little Mermaid. That's the wrong show, but yeah, there's one from you.
Oh, hello to me.
One from you. Robert Payne's here too. Good to see you, Robert.
Hello.
Evening, he says. And Shah, great to see you, says Gary Akers.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Yeah, always a pleasure.
Yeah, 16 degrees, that is, I think, that Carpenter said.
It's been bizarre today. I walked out of the house this morning and I was cold, I was freezing. And then I walked out an hour later. I went just for a little walk around because I'm really close to the Thames, so it's nice just to get out. And it was roasting. I had to take my jacket off. It was so hot, but that's Britain for you, isn't it? We just don't, it never.
All the seasons in one day. I think I'd rather be where Adam is. The Geeks Handbag. He's out there in Dallas, evening one and all.
Oh, lovely. Oh, nice one, Adam. I'm very envious of you.
Don't give a toss about Doomsday, but this should be a giggle, says Woodhouse.
Oh, with me and Dad?
Two. Of course, a giggle or two. I think we got the giggles. What? Did we get rid of the giggles before we went live? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
I have to compose myself. I always get the giggles when I'm around you. Every single stream as well. I've got the giggles at some point.
You won't be the first, and you won't be the last. Hi, everyone. I hope all is well, says Tony L. And the Sodor Engines adds, I hope that TARDIS has Doctor Who books. Well, I would like to think so. Otherwise, they could be seized by the Time Lords, I think, Shah. Hey, so to see, they're all talking amongst themselves. So there was, hi, Dan from Corvin M, no less.
You know what? Bear in mind, this is your thing, your channel. You actually very rarely get a shout out. I'm going to start a campaign for Dan to get more hellos. You actually never get them. I've just realised. Oh dear.
We like this. No, it's all lovely. Evening from the Darren Zone, deep in the Darren Zone.
I was waiting. I was thinking you didn't do the Darren Zone.
No, I didn't. Not this time. It's not the middle of the week. It's the start of the week. So I'm still sort of building on. Yeah, I haven't peaked yet. I peak on Wednesdays. That's God.
You're right. Oh, this is.
Okay.
I said, right, just for everyone, I said to Dan earlier, are we going to pre-record this or are we going to do it live? And Dan was like, no, forget it, we'll just do it live.
That's an ace video with Mr. Tennant, says Tony L. And well, we'll get round to her in a little while. Hi all, reverse the polarity. Orders, Philip King. I'll get right onto it, Philip. I'll get right onto it. Only good. And hello, Dan. Hi, hey, kids. And lots of that sort of stuff. Yeah, lots of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, there was Tennant out there being accosted by that young man. And Tennant, to be fair to him, he looked like it was a reflex action. He didn't even look as to see who that was. It's like, it's one of the...
No, he's like, yeah, that's me.
I'll go in. But we've got this one as well. So Peter Capaldi has also been out and about here. So this is Peter. He's been snapped. And this is trending too. This was tweeted by a guy called Kunal Tiwari up in Glasgow, and this was at Barras Market in Glasgow. Capaldi stopped in there to look at some art prints by the looks of things, and I think the proprietor here, the Kunal, he asked him, can I get a picture of you with you? And he said, well, why don't we go one better, and you can get a picture of me in your store and use it as an advert. And it's gone sort of viral like this. And Capaldi wears the best t-shirts, doesn't he? I don't know it's designer, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm a Prime Arnie girl, and I think I can afford designer stuff. I just love that photo in general. It's so good. It's so good. And so I just love it. It's all just good fun with doctors like that, isn't it? Where they just don't take themselves. I don't think there's one that would take themselves, obviously living, that would take themselves so seriously, just like to have fun with it. And I think that's the best thing you can do. He's
got this sort of magical quality about him, I think, Peter Capaldi. He does wear sunglasses a lot, even when the sun's not out.
Oh, he's my kind of guy. Got after my own heart. You should see me in the morning getting on the tube off all about sunglasses, rain or shine, because no one needs to see that in the morning, trust me. So I completely understand.
We've got Vanessa Law here too. Says, I can't type, but I'm here. I'm here.
How did you do that then, Vanessa? I'm confused.
Must be an AI thing. Maybe she's got an AI.
Oh God, I don't know if I can deal with any more AI right now. It's all I'm seeing.
We've got two Vanessas, the real one and the and we've got we've lost Dan. Says garbage. It's Wednesday, hump day, Dan. And what does yes? Okay. Maybe another time. I love Peter's shirt. Says Retro Doc. It's a cracker, isn't it? He wears a lot of sort of David Bowie style stuff as well, doesn't he? Yeah. You'd be very welcome to visit me in Texas anytime, Dan and Shah. How about that for an invitation there, Shah?
Well, that's a new one. Yeah, I mean, thanks. Well, impressed.
You were in New York at around Christmas time, weren't you?
Oh yeah, because we did a whole Christmas show and I had to do it from New York. That was brilliant. Yeah, God, go back and watch that after this, obviously not right. So that's the closest I got to that.
Coming down the window.
Yeah, it did end up snowing, but it turned to black ice, which was death trap, But that's the closest I've got to Dallas is New York, so very far away.
a lot closer than I have. Now, it's not just the doctors that have been up to no good. I've also got this. I think you're going to really like this. So,
okay.
I don't know where this was actually filmed. It seems to be a little bit of a mystery, and there've been no actual words that have been put out with this. But again, this has been on Instagram on two Doctor Who personalities' accounts. This funky video that we've got here. So if I can find it, where is it? It's this one. So check this out. It's a staircase, and two people are descending. Can you make out who they are, Sean?
I can.
They look a bit maniacal, don't they?
They look a little bit I don't know, but that walk is masterful, isn't it? So who knows? I'm so proud of myself.
It's a good one. So obviously this is Michelle Gomez and Sacha Dhawan there. Both of them impeccably dressed as always, particularly Sacha. That I think that guy's got a great sense of style. So here they were, and they're all smiles there together, united. Apparently this was the first time they'd ever met. We've got no idea why they were together or even where they were, but the Instagram just lapped this up, and there's all sorts of like, put them on screen, Russell, we need both of them back, and all this kind of thing. Obviously, we saw Michelle Gomez paired with John Sim, didn't we, all the way back in Series 10 now.
And weren't they wonderful together?
They were surprisingly
Fantastic
wonderful.
chemistry, yeah.
Each of them seemed to
we
know.
should recreate
exactly.
that. We're going to recreate that when we see each other next month.
One of us probably fall over on some urine.
I wonder which one it will be.
but this is it, isn't it? Once you've seen things like this, the imagination does sort of get fired. And because the Doctor Who world is kind of like one big family, and which includes the actors and us too, you can tell that they know that this is going to go kind of low level viral, don't they? They know exactly what they're stoking with this.
Oh, they're not stupid. Yeah, of course they do. But you know what? Considering that's the first time they ever met, there's something about the people that play the Master who just they just seem to have this way about them. But I mean, the Doctors do that too, and companions and whatnot. But just, I don't know, there's something. I can imagine Michelle Gomez is an absolute hoot to be around. I could just imagine she's absolutely balmy, but in the best way. And I'm probably in the minority. I really like Sasha's Master as well. So
I do too.
Them two together. Oh, good. Okay, this is why we get on.
No, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that Sasha and Missy, asks the Geeks handbag. Well, yeah, you've got your answer now. Master upstairs, says Garbage. See, all these little things, obviously, actors, personalities, let's put it this way, I don't want to say they crave attention, but they're not backward in coming forward, are they? So put them in front of, get someone to hold a camera up in front of them. I mean, within reason, as long as they're not in a toilet cubicle or something like that. And they're going to perform like this. I think it's wonderful stuff.
Natural reaction, I suppose. If you're trained in your craft like that, that's probably like you said about reflex reactions. That's probably just what an actor does. Yeah. I have no idea. I'm not an actor. I'm really bad at acting. Hence why I'm not in Rebecca Gold season 2. If anyone's wondering, even though I've harassed you for a cameo. So
has the Mega Geek still not allocated you a role in
Justice for sure. I think we should get trending. And every time when you see him on Thursday, make sure you mention it in the chat, please.
Yeah, we'll pressure him. We'll pressure him on Type 40 Live later in the week and see if we can. Yeah. There they are, Master and Missy together. I've just noticed his bottle green shoes, very, very chic, and she looks. I think those are trousers rather than a skirt. But yeah, I love this stuff, and I'm not the biggest fan of the Whittaker era. I don't think I've kept that a secret, but I do think Sasha one was a bit of a high point and a great signing. Yeah. And for years, in fact, he was somebody I had ringed as being an ideal choice to play the Doctor, but it never happened.
Interesting, yeah. But I think he was great, but I don't think it was his acting. We won't put the fact. You know what? We know my thoughts on talking about the Whittaker era. Move on. Move on.
But the idea of bringing, more Masters together, could they have a special, for example, where, forget about multi-Doctors, multi-Masters, get John Sim back, get Derek Jacobi back, get them all back. How would that be if they were facing off together?
Oh, God, Derek Jacobi, he deserved so much more screen time. I know he's done Big Finish and things like that, but I loved his very short incarnation.
Yeah, so did I. Obviously, all this stuff happens on audio all the time, doesn't it? And I do love audio. I know several people who are on the Type 40 panels don't, but I really do. But again, there's that barrier. It's you've got to pay out for it. It's not on the telly. I wouldn't say it doesn't count, but it does mean that we do want to see them. We do want to see them as part of the anniversary. Somebody, ideally, I think that'd be pretty good. Double denim, says Garbage. Yes,
going back to the 90s. To be fair, Michelle does look like she's part of Bewitched, doesn't she?
Could be.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Hello, everyone, says Queen Charlotte.
Queen Charlotte.
Geez Louise, ace actors, they would be great in a drama together. Miss Gomez was great in The Flight Attendant. The Flight Attendant starred Kaylee Cuoco from The Big Bang Theory. I've probably mispronounced that, but I'm thinking if I don't mention it, nobody will know it.
I don't like The Big Bang Theory, but I know who she is. She's the blonde one, right?
That's the one.
Okay.
Well, it sort of happened in is that Power of the Doctor, Corvin? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I'm still not entirely sure what happened in that thing. I'm still processing it, Corvin. I'll let you know when I remember.
Blimey.
We've got it's been 6 or 7 months. Make sure a Rebecca Hitwoman, says Gary Akers. Let's get the hashtag going. My guess
for legality, that's not genuine, but
Charlotte adds that my guess maybe is that Missy is appearing in Sasha's Big Finish box set. Well, it could be, but that looks like, I hate to say it, because this is no slight on Big Finish, but whenever you see them recording some of their stuff together, it seems to me like it's happening in some sort of dank car park somewhere or on an industrial estate. This looks like an airport or a convention centre or something a bit Swiss, Shaw.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you have that same sort of thing, because I thought that too. Like I said, no disrespect to Big Finish, but just it doesn't seem like it's in like a beautiful studio. Not that it has to either, but that it's just sort of in a cupboard. No, that's fine. But yeah, I wonder, do you know where they are? Do you have any idea? Or?
No idea. They've kept it.
Oh, okay.
So it could be somewhere secretive, tied into something. Because Sasha he's got a stubble there, and his look did change, didn't it, whilst he was playing the Master on screen?
Is it? Sasha is a Brummie, isn't he? He's a Midlander, like us.
I believe so. Yeah. sort of like me. Yeah, we've got a controversial opinion here from Scott from the Game Closet, who seems to have changed his name again. So Scott's here from the Game Closet and says recast actors for Delgado and Ainley too. That's a very, very spicy one. A lot of people would disagree with that.
It's a hot take, but David Bradley does. I accept him as a Doctor, and as William Hartnell's not obviously replaced, but I accept his portrayal. So it could happen if you get someone good enough. It could happen, but maybe Ainley, but Delgado, I can't quite see that sitting well. But stranger things have happened. So
very, very tall order. Another thing I've noticed as well this week is that talk about things that are trending. It's talking about fan obsessions. Really, is the word Gallifrey, hashtag Gallifrey. That was trending the other day as well. I couldn't work out for the life of me why. So obviously the last time we talked about the power of the Doctor a moment ago, but the last time we properly saw Gallifrey, the Doctor's homeworld, it was in a bit of a state, wasn't it? And my opinion is that the entire new series of Doctor Who has sort of mishandled the Time Lords and the Doctor's home planet so much. For a time, Shaw, I was hungry to see Time Lord mythology and as much of Gallifrey as possible. But now I'm sort of in the weird place where I'm actually hoping they stay as far away from all this stuff as possible for as long as possible and just concentrate on locking down the two central characters again, a Doctor and a companion. What are your thoughts on this?
Funny you should say that. I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I grew up, Charlotte might get this actually, but I grew up where Gallifrey wasn't a thing. I'd never seen Classic. I'd been brought up with Eccleston. Well, sort of my first Doctor was Eccleston, where Gallifrey was gone. So you can't miss what you never had. But I was quite happy with the mystery of Gallifrey. I found that actually really intriguing that Gallifrey it's a whole planet had gone missing. Well, it died.
There's a romance to that, isn't there? Because it speaks of mythology.
Really is. It does, and I'm really into that sort of thing. And I love mystery, I really, really do. But then when it was brought back, I was very happy in Time of the Doctor, or Day of the Doctor, sorry. And then when it came back properly and Capaldi was there, it ruined it. I didn't want it. I knew there was a reason I didn't want it as well, because it was meant to be this magical place. Tennant would describe it as, just the best place ever. And then we got there and I'm like, oh, okay. I liked in Day of the Doctor how that I saw was enough. I didn't need to see any more. And then Chibnall did a bit of I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Daleks in Manhattan, Martha's era, when they sort of drain all the intelligent people and put Dalek into them. Am I right? Oh, God, it feels like such a long time since I watched that. I'm not going to rewatch in a while. Sorry. Chibnall did that sort of thing with Time Lords and Cybermen, and that why? What for? I mean, I think I said it a couple of weeks ago. I wanted Gallifrey mystified again, but not to that extent. not to the extent where there's no bringing it back now. You can't really retcon. Oh, I'm not going to mention retcon, or else we're just going to get ourselves into a whole world of pain.
And fun enough, Shah, that's a big part of why I'm not in any rush to get back to Gallifrey. It all seems like a huge mess. And to be frank, it's the same with the Cybermen too, to some extent. I mean, the beauty of the Cybermen is they can go and find some more somewhere else, or in a parallel universe again, and forget about all that, and leave it enough years between that and what they're bringing next, and people will gradually forget about the cyber lords or whatever they were, because let's be honest, hardly any bugger was watching anyway. But sincerely, I think that for me, and that's why I'm always surprised when Gallifrey trends, because in and of itself, despite it being on screen right the way from 1969 onwards, we first finally sort of went there. We weren't exactly sure where this was on Gallifrey, but we're pretty certain it was, or it was certainly Gallifreyan culture in the War Games.
What a fantastic story! Yeah.
I'm glad you like it too. I adore the War Games, but between the War Games and its last classic on-screen appearance in the Trial of a Time Lord, that's just 17 years, and there's a handful of stories at best. So it's hardly the bread and butter of Doctor Who, I feel. I can see why. It's one of those things that I don't agree with Russell T Davies' original assertion from 20 years ago, where he said he wanted the Time Lords out of the picture because they were boring. I think that's, and to be honest, I think that he only said that so that people would stop asking him about it, because he knew he would bring them back eventually. I think that was a red herring, come to think of it. But again,
that doesn't sound like writer,
no, it sounds like more Moffat's territory, doesn't it? But I think I saw it trending and I thought, oh no. My initial 20 years ago, obviously things didn't trend 20 years ago, but 20 years ago, that word would have filled me with excitement. Now I just thought, oh no.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I never wanted it, so I'm fine with that. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of like, from an unearthly child, actually, you know, where the doctor says we've been cut off from our home planet, that was enough for me. I didn't need to know anymore. Like, if I'd have seen that at the time, at the age that I was, that would have been great. I didn't need anything else. And I don't believe the first Doctor ever mentioned Gallifrey. I think it only came in Troughton's era. Am I right in that?
Pertwee used the name Gallifrey first, and it was only in his last season, as his final season was kicking off. But the Hartnell's Doctor, the first Doctor, says we're cut off from our home world without friends or protection. I always found that interesting as well. What kind of protection? Do they offer protection sometimes? Was this something that was withdrawn? Because having friends is one thing, but being under the protection of something or someone, that it's got that kind of, again, it's a romance, a sense of mystery, a sense of looming power. And it made the Doctor and Susan seem, despite the fact that he's got this magical box that could go anywhere, it actually made them seem quite small and relatable. Like, even though they were impossible people to humans, as regards the universe, they were no less or no more than we are. They were just
took a while for them to get there.
Yeah,
took a while for that to happen. For them
Gallifrey should be left alone. Pointless bringing it back after destroying it twice the last few years. Says Woodhouse wanted to. It probably is that simple, isn't it? Probably is that simple. Some people
probably love it. Yeah.
The sheer power and mystery of the Time Lords was best shown in the War Games, adds Gary A, because I think it probably was. Yeah, I think I like the end of time quite a lot, but yeah, there's something about this, the solemnness. I mean, they're a bunch of miserable bastards, aren't they? Let's be honest. But it just works, really. It just works. I'm with you, Shah, as Scott. It was the glory of the chase of Gallifrey we liked.
Exactly. Thrill is in the chase, never in the capture. Which episode's that from? What was I going to say? It's funny you mentioned the end of time. Yeah, you're welcome. It's funny you mentioned the end of time, because that was a great way of saying Gallifrey doesn't need to come back, because look how awful it can be. Look how terrible it can be when it's done in the wrong way. I just love that so much, that they did bring them back, and it wasn't a, what's the word, glorified place where everything, because I think and he would, I suppose, but you know, where I think it's always a 10th Doctor actually, and I don't think Nine ever did this, where he would talk so and made like about them. He even says, I like to remember them as being great people and being around. You know,
he'd go all misty-eyed and breathless, wouldn't he? As he talked about his childhood.
Would. And then when it came back, and you realise it's not all fun and games on Gallifrey, and it was actually a really bad idea. I really like that, and I wish they'd kept that to a certain extent. So,
it's great. I know people say that I'm a Russell T Davies fanboy. You know, I've sort of changed my mind a little over Russell T Davies the last couple of months over certain decisions he's made. But as regards the writing then, I think that was pitch perfect, because that inconsistency, I wouldn't say it humanises the Doctor, but it does mean that we can empathise with him, because we're all contrarians up to a point. A lot of us. I mean, I'm a terrible nostalgist, in particular for the 80s. You know, I know people who get nostalgic for the 70s, and then you ask them, you know, would you like to go back there? Oh yeah, I'd go back. And then because you think, oh, the music was better, there was less traffic on the roads, there was this, there was that. You know, there was some. Women went braless quite a lot. You know, all those things. So people talk about all that, but then they remember. That there was 3-day weeks, there was power cuts, there was rickets, there was plague, pestilence.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the things you forget. Yeah, the ways in which things have got better, and that's what I see in the Doctor in that moment. That flash of, oh no, I don't want them to come back. Oh, that'd be a terrible idea. It'd be awful. They're terrible people. It's great stuff. Great writing and beautifully acted by Tennant. I love Robert Holmes Gallifrey. Terence Dix ran with that too. He did indeed, Richard. Keep the comments coming. Not many fans of the Cyber Lords. It was Bobbins. That's a very damning word to use. He's Bobbins. So he's not mincing his words there. Bobbins. Charlotte says, I do have a feeling, though, if there is one area Russell will go against Chib's storyline, it is here. He will bring it back as a way to recreate the Doctor, recenter the Doctor, sorry. I think it's one option, Char. I hadn't thought of that.
I think it's a good option as well. I think it's becoming more and more obvious that he is wanting to just completely reset things, and rightly so. I think it gets a bit too messy, but we need to remember there's been 60 years. Of course, it's going to get a bit messy from time to time. And I think it should be rebooted more often, which is not going to be a popular take, but I'm going to give it anyway, because there's always going to be a time where things need to reset.
No, so you are right. It's healthy for any sort of creative entity that it does reset from time to time, and we're very fortunate with Doctor Who in that it's built into it built into it over a period of time rather than at its birth. Corvin adds, I would like the series to explore the post-Gallifrey universe more. Do another species attempt to fill the power vacuum left by the Time Lord's absence? They do hint at that a little bit with ideas like the Shadow Proclamation, that people would somehow band together if the Time Lords used to sort of to monitor things and keep a sense of order and a sort of righteousness about it. They're almost sort of bureaucrats. Then when there is that vacuum, races band together to create alliances, allegiances, and draw up proclamations and things. So Corvin's right. If Gallifrey had stayed gone, they could have explored that quite more, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, Sisterhood of Khan would have been in there like a shot, like a rat up a drain pipe, wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly. I love them.
I do, and I actually kind of feel like that would, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I actually kind of feel like that would be a way to bring it back, because they have the power to do things that their science is even more elevated than Gallifrey. So, you know,
it's a rawer sort of science than the Time Lords, isn't it? It's very I wouldn't say it's primal, but there's something.
Yeah, but it's very matter of fact.
Ancient and unrefined, whereas the Time Lords, it's connected to technology, and you get the impression, particularly when you look at sort of Omega and Rassilon and all these people, that great sacrifices were made to make these huge scientific advancements. Whereas, and that's probably what shattered a lot of their morality and got them such bad reputations throughout the Whoniverse, whereas the Sisterhood of Khan, they sort of sit in their caves practicing their ancient arts and magics, I suppose, in the way that they always have. Yeah, it's the comparison between the two. This is the thing about those episodes, those Capaldi episodes, when we've got the Sisterhood of Khan and the Time Lords sort of talking together, where Rassilon's talking to the head sister. I can't remember what her name was. Those, I thought that was fascinating, and we didn't get enough of that either. Yes,
no, I agree. I don't. Yeah, I would. I'd want to see him more. Sorry, go on.
Good point. I love the Sisters of Khan, says Scott in the game closet.
Yeah,
good stuff. So who knows whether Gallifrey will continue to trend and whether it can be saved, dusted off for the next era, the all-new era of Doctor Who. Let us know what you think down below in the comments section. Are you fed up to the brim with Time Lords and Gallifrey and all that jazz, just like I sort of am? You wish they'd just sort of get out there and have fun again. Or is it worth a do-over? You know, it's been enough years now, you could say, between whatever it was that Chibnall was up to. I'm not entirely sure. It's been enough years now, and perhaps perhaps it's one of those things that can be reset, Shah, and that people will just accept it the way that they accept, you know, oh, here's another new Batman, and here's another new Spider-Man, and oh, who's Aunt May this time, and all that kind of thing. Even though it's one constant continuity with Doctor Who, maybe the fact that people are used to constant sort of reinventions and slight retcons and the kind of handwave stuff, that may work in Doctor Who's favour. It's not ideal, and it'll drive people mad, but it could be a necessary evil.
I think in this instance where you got rid of 50 years of law, maybe it's a good idea. Who knows? But we won't go into that.
Yeah.
Keep that on the down.
And Lord Thoth is straight in there. It's O'Hyla. That's from the Sisterhood of Khan. There. Thank you for that.
The top dog in it, yeah.
Top dog, yeah. I did wonder. So yeah, I'm afraid we can't really duck this. We can't really duck this anymore. I've got to get right onto this, because it is our main feature. Now, I wasn't certain that we were going to be able to cover this, because even though the BBC have been saying that Doctor Who Doomsday begins today, there was absolutely nothing until about an hour before we were due to go live here with this. But they've dropped it. It's here. So this transmedia event, Shah, were you on one of our shows when we were talking about that? I can't quite remember. You weren't, were you?
I was not, no, but I didn't need to be either. Because I would have had nothing to contribute.
When they talk about these events, these transmedia events and promotions and multimedia and books and comics and audios, to me, I mean, we were there when it was announced and we did a hour and a half show about it. But it just, to me, it just reads like it's exhausting just trying to find all of this stuff. I think it's almost, I won't say it's like setting homework as such, but they obviously think that Doctor Who fans, firstly of all, have bottomless, never-ending wallets or purses. And secondly, have the time and the inclination to sort of track down every piece of something like this and put it all together. You've got to really want to do it, haven't you? Does it appeal to you on any level?
Not a single bit, I'll be honest. I know that's really just a short answer. But yeah, nothing about this makes me want to read, watch, listen. Because I don't care. And I know it sounds awful, but I don't care about anything. Nothing's exciting. Like, who is this person? I don't even know. Like, nah, it's not my thing at all. And I don't see what it adds. I have nothing against this. Is it Suze? Something like that? I don't know who she
Kempner,
is.
yeah.
Suze Kempner, okay. I don't know who she is. I don't know what her deal is. She might be the loveliest person on the planet. Nothing about this makes me want to.
Spoiler, she isn't.
That was a jump scare, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no. She's what I think I would call a funny fish. Suze Kempner is apparently a comedian, an actress, and a singer. I've seen some of her comedy, and I as I think I said the other day, the last time I laughed like that was when I opened my gas bill. So, but then again, sense of humor is a very subjective thing, isn't it? And what some people find hilarious, other people don't. I'm more alarmed by her manner and the way that she's interacted with fans. And in my view, it's the main reason why Doomsday is sort of dead on arrival. There's a lot of talented people involved in this show, and several books and comics and audios all on the way. A lot of the writers involved are people that you've heard of if you've paid a passing interest to expanded media in any way. These are reliable people, good, reliable people like James Goss, who's kicked it all off today. But here's an infographic. This just gives me a headache just looking at it.
Blimey, I need to put my glasses on. I can't. It's made me eyes go funny. Yeah.
This is courtesy of the good people at Blog to Who, and they put all this together. So it starts on social media, and it started today, on the 5th of June 2023, and that's all they gave us. I thought, what they mean? It starts on social media. I was expecting a sophisticated social media campaign where we would get interactive videos, maybe. I mean, it didn't work out well a couple of months ago, but we would maybe have the character talking to us, and then some sort of short form drama, like a minisode, maybe for 5 minutes, cheap and cheerful minisode to set up the story, and then it goes into comic books and a hardback book over to the games. There we've got a game and audio drama. So you'd want it to kick off in a pretty sort of spectacular way, you would think. But in the end, it started, as I say, less than 2 hours ago, I think, as of time of live streaming this, with a simple short story. And this new graphic, so yet another picture of Suze Kempner as Doom, looking like she's just got back from Zumba class. So there's this. And a simple short story shot is all they've given us. A short story in prose form up on the official BBC website. So it's not.
It's like a shit advent calendar, isn't it?
Well,
sorry for language.
Well, if you think about it, they've said that this is a transmedia event. It builds it up to be something that's going to take the brand sort of next level. That's going to be really, really memorable, and it's really, really grab your attention. But all that we've had is this. So we've got this. Where is it? So we've got this. There it is. Read Doomsday's first hour in Doomsday, and someone has sent literal death after Doom. She can only outrun it for 24 hours. Unless she can find the Doctor, it says there. And that's pretty much it. And then it goes into this short story called Hour One. And it's written by James Goss, who's a reliable enough writer.
Yeah,
but
fair enough. Yeah.
This thing is. It just reads. There's not even any illustrations. Never mind any sort of enhanced content in any way. No audio drama, no clips. There's not even. When you go onto some websites and there's the sort of music coming at you, and there's sort of some sort of animated background just to set a tone. It's nothing. It is literally just words on a black screen, and I'd say probably the equivalent of a chapter's worth if you were to read this in book form. So this is a major disappointment. I mean, are you likely to sample any of it? You think, what is all the fuss about? I'll give it a go.
No, but I said that about Squid Game and I ended up loving it. So I would probably read this just to know that I can talk on it or speak on it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that would be the only reason I would even delve into it. Do you know what it is? I'll be honest. That first trailer that we saw, it screamed CBBC. I don't need that. I'm here for Doctor Who. None of it. I don't get involved in its extended media anyway, so I'm probably the worst person to ask. I'll be honest. So it's yes.
But you said at the top of the show you're hungry to see something, and we haven't got any spin-offs at the moment. Here is something that they could have enhanced in some way.
Probably, but if I don't feel connection, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I want to see some. When I say I want to see some, so many people are going to agree with me. Thank God Ian's not about, because he'd disagree as soon as I say it. Oh, if it was something to do with River, I would be all over it because I adore River. If this was River, I'd be there. because I would believe it. To call her the deadliest assassin, and no one's never had a mention. You can't build something up that much. It's a little bit like the Jinx Monsoon. We're getting into dangerous territory here, but it's a little bit like this. Not from me, I don't mind, but anyone else. With the whole Jinx Monsoon, you know, what was it? It's from a deadly. Oh, I can't remember what they called it.
No, I can't.
No, I can't. But greatest enemy or something that the Doctor's ever faced.
That's it. Yeah,
that's a joke because we know that's a lie. So if you can't just throw things out like that because it cheapens it, and then I'm completely uninterested. I've disassociated with it completely. So yeah, I can't really get behind this, but I'll probably give it a little. I'll look into it more just so that I can speak on it, because it might be brilliant. It might be one of the best things I've ever seen, heard in this, and it might be great, but I don't think it's going to be.
No,
just off the first trailer alone.
How I felt, Shah, was that that trailer was absolutely awful, and Suze Kempner, certainly by all the evidence that I've seen, is quite a hostile character who already has treated the Doctor Who fans terribly. Unless you go sort of fawning all over her, she's fine with you then. But the woman can't take any criticism whatsoever, and has been calling Doctor Who fans and therefore her customers names. But I decided. Yeah, shocking behaviour over on the social media from a grown woman. She's nearly 40 years of age, for heaven's sake. So you've got that in one corner. But I decided that I've made, I think we made about 4 hours worth of content based on Doomsday on that one trailer. Yeah, and I thought, well, look, the entire project, in my view, it is dead on arrival. But I make content about Doctor Who. I felt that I owed it to the creatives who I do respect, who were involved, people like James Goss, people like Darren Jones. I owed it to them to give it perhaps another look, at least sample it and know what it is that I'm speaking on, just as you said. And so I did read this, and even though it was a short read, and as I say, James Goss, he's an experienced writer, somebody I've read a lot of stuff that he's written. I've enjoyed a lot of his audio dramas. This was agonizing. It really was. It felt James Goss was one of the lead creatives. In fact, I think he was kind of the showrunner of the Time Lord Victorious event from a couple of years ago, which of course was a massive failure. Huge. Yeah. And I don't think it failed because of anything that James did or didn't do. I think he was given a job, a task at hand. And I think it's exactly the same with this. It's one of those things where, as you're reading it, and it's a very I wouldn't say unchallenging read, but it's a simple premise, a simple setup. We meet Doom, we meet her kind of handler called Terry. We're introduced to the loyal order of Oberon, who work out of this sort of big grey office on a big grey world, and it's all described in the way that James Goss always describes things in his work, in a very sort of amusing, in a wry way. He's trying to add colour to something which is quite flat. But I think if Goss has, and sorry James if you're watching this, I do follow James on Twitter. He's a nice fella. Yeah, I do like him. But I get the impression sometimes that he is writing. I suppose writers have got to amuse themselves. They've got to like what they write. But it's like up to the max with this. I think he overindulges himself with this, and I don't know. There's a lot of witticisms, Douglas Adams isms in there. Somebody else mentioned this to me earlier on, and they're absolutely. In fact, it was Adam from the Geeks Handbag. He's absolutely right. You can hear him trying to write that way to amuse himself, because I think that James Goss is no more seduced by this premise or interested in this character than we are. And more to the point, Shah, as I was reading it, I also felt it wasn't just me that was looking, because I was reading it on a tablet, on an iPad. So I was thinking how, when you got the tab along the side, how much of this is there left, as you can see it go down the screen, see how much is left. So I was conscious of the fact that I was doing that, go, oh my God, how much more is there of this? But also, I do feel that the writer was very conscious of the word count that he'd got to hit. And there was nobody more relieved than James Goss when James Goss hit that word count. So it's not that it's bad writing. It's not that it's necessarily a bad story. It does what I think it's got to do. It feels very mechanical, and I can't recommend this with good conscience at all. And if anything, it confirms everything that we thought that Doomsday was going to be. You can't latch onto this. You can't take this character seriously. You can't latch onto her. Immediately, James describes Doom Shah, and she's carrying a Staser rifle in one hand, and she actually sounds quite River Song. Funny enough, you mentioned River, and I think this would have worked a lot better with River. And I understand, and people are fed up of River Song, and I was to a certain extent, but this would have worked better with her and several other characters, because we've all seen this promo art. This Fizzog has been everywhere, always looking like she's touching cloth. It's been everywhere. So that is in our heads. If I'd have read the story first and Doom was a kind of shadowy figure in maybe some artwork, we needn't have known what she looked like. I think it could have gone better for them, because we could have each have cast Doom in our own heads. And Sirius could have played her on, somebody could have played her on audio. It's fine. But I think it might have worked then. It might have worked. But they really shot their bolt with all the promo art and wheeling this person out to front something that was so important. So I thought I'd try and be kind to this, but I can't. It's pretty terrible. And I do feel for Goss. Yeah.
You did your best. They've really doubled down on this, haven't they? When it comes to everything that they've done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, people can say, I think I even said it myself, so I'm about to contradict myself completely. How about, maybe it's written for children, maybe it's more of a children's thing, maybe it's just a more juvenile audience.
Well,
fine, but you also have Sarah Jane.
I can see why you think. But I can see why you would think that. That's not an unreasonable assumption to make, because when this trailer dropped, and we talked about it on the channel, we speculated about that. Numerous of us on the channel tried to at least play devil's advocate and say perhaps it's for kids, perhaps. But we kept coming back to that stickling point of the fact that those audios are so expensive. And so that's where we were. And as you said earlier on, this is so CBBC. But when you read the story, as I say, it's written. I wouldn't say it's necessarily sophisticated, but it's an adult story. There are jokes about working in offices, for example, things that only adults experience.
Understand? Yeah. I mean, that's fine. But all I was going to say is you've got Sarah Jane Adventures, and I think that and I watched it as an adult. And that was meant to be children's television, so it can,
love the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Me too. I miss them. But yeah, this just doesn't. Nothing about this even has a hint of Doctor Who to me.
That's the problem.
Literally none of it. That's the problem. Yeah, exactly. And you said about I'm so sorry, Dan. What did you mention a couple of minutes ago? Oh God. It's gone. But I had a really good point, and it was good in my head. I'm not quite sure what I was going to say. It was good. About cramming stuff in. Oh, Joe, I'll come back to me in an hour.
About word counts.
No. After that. By the way, this is what we're like when we're talking on the phone or for FaceTime, and this is how it goes. Because we've not got six other people to save us.
Yeah. So
I'll come back to it.
Well, the thing is, what I keep coming back to is the fact that, it's launched like this with something fairly low-key, a standard bit of prose just on the BBC website, and then people are going to go away and they're going to spend however much on all this stuff, things that they'll probably listen to once, then pop on the shelf. Audios and games and books and comics and all sorts of stuff. And so people are going to, potentially, they could invest in that, only for it to conclude. So it started small. And if you look to see right at the very end of it, the finale is also on social media in September. So
that says everything to me.
Is that just going to be another short story? People are going to work their way back to exactly where they set off Shah. It's not much of an incentive to think they're going to spend all that money between now and September. So that's how long? That's 3 months. another 3 months of shelling out for this to get another short story dropped on a website to tie it all together as sort of validation for their time and their money.
That's another thing, actually. Yeah, good to come to think of it. Have they just got to spend their budget? Is it like the council where they have to spend their budget by April? Like, what is the reason? That's what I want to know. What's the reason? What for? What does it do for any of the extended universe? Yeah, what does it do?
I think that they're conscious of the fact they didn't actually have anything for us between whenever was it, late October and this coming November, and they thought.
But that's okay. That's okay. I'm sorry. I'm having to adjust my seat because I'm so enraged. I'm only joking. That's I would rather not have anything, and you keep my attention by not having anything than having a pile of old doomsday pushed on me that I'm not going to have any interest in because you're just spending money for the sake of spending money. I'm sorry, I'm still reading from the fact that I forgot what I wanted to say to you. But
10 years ago, they released a series of audio dramas, BBC Studios. A series of audio dramas throughout the year. It was just called Destiny of the Doctors, and they were hour-long things. They were on CD, and I think you could get them as downloads as well. And they were just talking books. I think there were 2 performers on most of them, so they weren't even full cast dramas. And I think people pre-ordered those and picked away at them, or you could buy them in a big box set at the end of the year. And it's simple, but people, because the months do sort of fly by, and even more so now people are watching the pennies, and so people could sort of build up to the actual anniversary and pop that on CD in the car or something like that, or download it and put it on their iPhone or whatever, and that would probably be enough. Something like that would have worked just fine. But it's as if they think, we're 10 years on, we have to do this, we have to do that. But as ever with the BBC, they don't really know. They don't really know what they're doing. Certainly in-house at BBC, I have a little more faith in Bad Wolf Shah. I don't think that I think it's quite clear. It's abundantly clear that this is going to fail, and fail hard. You cannot expect people to chase this crap around for 3 months to get another short story. At the end of it, it's just not going to fly. So this is going to fail. But I don't think it's any reflection on Bad Wolf and Russell T Davies.
No, I don't think that either. So I'm really glad that you said that, because I didn't want to seem like I'm being unreasonable by being so harsh with it. So yeah, I agree with that. TARDIS TV said I almost done with Torchwood, then I've been watching Sarah Jane Adventures. Funny you should pick up on that, because that's actually something that popped into my head. Because you're quite right, we haven't got any spin-offs. We haven't got Torchwood to help us through with that. We haven't got Sarah Jane Adventures to help us through with that, and that's that. So what else do they have? Well, bring something else in. Are you really trying to tell me that no Doctor Who actor that has been, whether it's classic or new Who, you're trying to tell me that none of them would be up for doing something like that, and they have to bring in this whole new character? Something doesn't work. So something isn't quite ringing true for me. You could easily have a spin-off. Unpopular, but even Joe Martin, even Sasha, like, there could be something. Carry on, sorry.
Well, I actually, I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of Joe Martin. I respect Joe Martin, but I'm no fan of the fugitive. I think she seems like a nice woman who enjoys what she does, but I'm no fan of the fugitive Doctor. Perhaps an event like this, run by a decent writer, James Goss could have probably made something good out of this. Involving the fugitive Doctor as somebody who, and you could have even incorporated that idea that the Whittaker era was being completely retconned out of time after the Flux event, and she could be some sort of refugee from that, like lost in time and space and somewhere between the multiverse. That could have worked, because there are people out there who certainly like Joe Martin and who kind of like the fugitive Doctor as well. That would have satisfied them. It would have annexed everything else, and that might have felt at least like something connected to Doctor Who. I think there are people who are a lot more forgiving.
Yes, that's my problem. It isn't connected. And I am a fan of the Fugitive Doctor because I liked Joe Martin's acting. And funnily enough, people can be like, what? I was actually intrigued by the fact that she had a job with the Time Lord of somebody, the division, sorry.
Yeah.
That's not a new thing either. So that's something actually quite nice to throw back to. And when it said one that you don't apply for and one that you can't ever leave, give me a spin-off of that. I want to know about that side and that story. Tell me about that, and I'd have been happy with that.
It's an interesting contrast with the Doctor working for UNIT on Earth in the 70s/80s, isn't it? Let's take a look
like an alternate universe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And in my view, and I'm trying not to be cruel, but I think the only way to salvage anything from that terrible era is to accept the fact that it didn't happen in our universe, and to drag what they can from the ashes, the things that people did latch onto, like Sacha Dhawan's Master, and if necessary, like Joe Martin as a Doctor from another universe. That's fine, that's okay.
I'm happy
to do something fun with that in these expanded medias, and the people who like might shell out for it. And other people may be curious enough if it was sold correctly, but to attach it to this character, a character that feels like it doesn't even belong in the Doctor Who universe. In the blurb, she's there saying, "All right, deaf mate," and all this kind. No.
What?
It just doesn't.
Who's that?
It's this Doom in the official blurb that went out on social media. It was launched with the phrase, "Death mate, you can wait. I'm going to find the Doctor." Yeah. The real character beats there. But yeah, what I wanted to know is, I think Shah's out. I don't think she's going to read it. And quite frankly, it is a short read. You can read it. You can read it in 15 to 20 minutes. But in all honesty, if it's a choice between that and doing the recycling, I think you should go with the recycling option. And
go green.
He'd be very happy with that. I'd do that. Charlotte's in the chat that says, "Remember when we used to get games like Attack of the Grask on the Doctor Who website?" See, these were fun. They should do something like that. They don't have to all be connected, do they, Shah? What's the attraction? Everything being connected. Just nice stuff would have been fine.
Which is hilarious, because I've literally just said the reason I'm not interested is because it's not connected. But that's because there is like zero. There's nothing to connect to, especially like, with that game. It still had a connection. Like there was still something there. But you're quite right. Something you can have extended media, and it feel connected in some way. It doesn't have to be a direct one, but at the same time, just not this. I wish I was in that planning meeting. I wish I was in the meeting of when they were talking about everything that they were going to do and all their projects that they had coming up, and just being like, really? Look at that you just brought up. Like, look at it. Come on.
I'd say this isn't as bad.
Pun intended.
This isn't as bad as the infographic for Time Lord Victorious. That would have absolutely have set off some epileptics out there if they'd have stared at that for too long. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I do know from places that Russell T Davies was just as shocked as we were to see that god-awful trailer. I think I've spoken about this the other day. And it could be possible. I know. That's why you think, okay, it's a hangover from something else. So he was startled by that, and perhaps they've dialed it down a bit to take people's attention off it. But I think that's me being over generous. I think this was all it was ever going to be: short stories and silly little asides, games that people don't play, comics that people don't buy, or to give it the illusion that BBC Studios are doing something somewhere.
That's probably what it is. When you. Well, actually, no, my boss say watch it, it's fine. When you're not doing anything, your boss walks in, you type like a maniac, making it like you're busy. That's kind of what it's like. The big boss has been in. They're like, "What are you up to?" They're like, "Oh, by the way, we've just pulled out this." That's kind of how it feels. I feel awful saying that,
tap on the shoulder.
Because some people probably worked their absolute socks off. It could have, because we don't know how long this even took to pull out. It could have been a day, it could have been an hour, it could have been months and months in the making. It just doesn't feel like that.
No.
But like I said, have that as a BBC sort of thing. I'm totally fine with that. Just don't connect it to my show, because I don't want it. But
Richard Brooks says even Goss can't put some gloss on this steaming pile of horse manure. You can tell his heart isn't in it then. Yes, you can. The man's got to eat.
That's what I was going to say. Sorry, it's come back to me 15 minutes later. Thanks, Charlotte, or else I would not Oh, not got it. That's the thing. We spoke about this 2 weeks ago, maybe. I'm not quite sure. That's the feeling I get with everything that comes out, is that they're all is just not in it, and there's got to be a reason why. You know, the trailer that we got. No, I'm not talking about Doomsday exclusively here.
No.
I'm talking about any sort of media that we've had. It just feels like not something somewhere doesn't feel great. Like it's almost like they should know what they're doing, but they just don't. Where's that come from? Because they've created fantastic trailers before. They've got me excited about things that I never would have been excited about, not even Doctor Who related. What's gone wrong? Something must have. And yeah, it's the fact that you just, every time I get something, I sort of get this sinking feeling, because I'm just thinking, you know, that could have been better. You know, you could have done more with that. Yeah. But it's always a shoulda, woulda, coulda with Doctor Who at the minute.
Well, just in the process of our conversation over the last hour show, we've come up with 2 or 3 more creative, exciting, and probably more commercially viable ideas than they have at BBC Studios.
Should we go when you next come to see me? We'll go pitch. Yeah, why not?
I'll make us some sandwiches. Right, we'll go start knocking doors. just like we did when we went to the mailbox. Spot on, Dan. I got the same impression. I also scrolled to see how much was left. Says Adam. The intro story gives us no reason to care whether this character lives or dies. That's a big fail right there, adds Gary.
Good point, Gary.
Vanessa says, I love River too, but I hope they don't bring her back. The story's done. I agree too.
I understand that. Yeah, I get that.
She's just that kind of you can see why in expanded media, why they keep going to a TARDIS TV. A TARDIS TV. Have I come across you before, TARDIS TV?
I was about to say if we spoke to you before, but no, not. If so, I'm very sorry. But if not, then
it's a lovely icon you've got there. I'm trying to work out what it is. It looks like a pagoda of some sort, or a bird cage. I can't quite work it out. But it's very nice. Welcome to the channel. Thank you.
It's a TV, love. It's a TV with a TARDIS in it.
Is it? Oh yeah. Oh.
Dan, you're meant to be the creative eye who spots things like this. You're meant to be a great sight reader. What are you doing?
People, I know. It's been a long weekend. Her expression looks like she's been taken hostage. I don't think he's talking about you. I think he's talking about Doomsday. It does look a bit like a hostage video, doesn't it? Doom looks like a leftover from a previous showrunner. That's Philip King. Yeah, with something we have all the time. Sick, and yeah, it's not got any better. But I did sincerely feel I like to give things because the trailer was terrible. That's fine. That's accepted. But I did feel that I had to be fair and look at something. And I may well listen to one of the audios. Well, not always, but
99% of the time.
Yes, so TARDIS TV. Yeah, you're quite right. Almost done with Torchwood. Onto the Sarah J. Yeah, I've recently watched series 1 of Torchwood. I enjoyed it a lot.
Sorry, have you not seen? I didn't read it that way. Have you not seen any of those spin-offs? Or
no, I have, but I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them in a long time. So I
meant TARDIS TV. Sorry, for YouTube. Yeah, because you're in for a treat. Yes. Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Shah. They are. In the case of Sarah, I like Torchwood as well, but in the case of Sarah Jane, I just love it. Corvin asks, isn't it essentially the replacement for the cancelled second series of Doctor Who Redacted? Now, the last I heard, Corvin, Redacted season 2 is still coming, and James Goss is leading the project. That may have changed if there's been cuts. I don't know. But as far as I know, Redacted is still in production. There was a conflict because the co-creator of Redacted was taken off the project in favour of James Goss, and she wasn't happy, and she was calling sexist and this and that and the other. So whether that got her anywhere and got the whole thing scrapped, I couldn't possibly say. On the strength of series 1, it's no great loss. But if people liked it, again, might be a few people out there who liked it.
I wasn't mad. I didn't go crazy about it, but I can understand why some people did really like it.
Hi, everyone, says John Pork.
Hello, Mr.
Hello, John. Been a couple of weeks. Yeah, good to see you back. Hello, John. And yeah, more hellos. How about partner up with a fan-made project? Speculates Shah here to help them make something. You know what?
Who could they be, Charlotte? I kind of feel like I know at least 6 people that could get in on that.
Yeah, a mega geek, for example, he'd be down for that.
Yes, a mega geek, a fashion. What would I call him? A fashionista. Could get in on that completely. A certain advertising expert could get in on that too. Who knows? And then someone who loves their mythology, like beautiful Charlotte. And me, who would just talk about it a lot and actually not contribute a thing. I'm that person in the group project that just supervises, puts my name.
You know what? I think Charlotte's onto something there. And when you think about how popular the Five-ish Doctors was 10 years ago, and okay, that starred actual doctors, and it was the brainchild of no, I'm going to change my word. It was Peter Davison's baby. It was a very personal project, but I think that you could do a similar sort of project with, if not fans, but there are people out there who are immensely creative. I think if they'd have given, for example, Emily Cook a commission to put something together, similarly to how she did during the lockdown, we might have had something that was a lot more celebratory, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be fiction, but would have really felt like it mattered and was timely. And was something that we all kind of, even if we didn't contribute to it, had collectively brought into being. I wonder what Emily's. I think she does some work for Big Finish now, but they really should talk to her, because, in my view, what she did in 2020, it might not have been genius as such, but the determination and the spirit of it, I thought was it really was quite beautiful. And she'd be the person I'd probably go back to, not least of all because she knows everybody now, because she managed to marshal so much talent together. But I would have probably got her involved myself.
Interesting. Yeah. If you don't mind me just basically saying a couple of things, is that this is why I love Doctor Who fans. They're so creative and they come up with some amazing things. When we saw those trailers that was done a couple of weeks ago now, which I loved. Thank you, Matt Strikes. But there was one, and I think his whole channel was called John Smith, where he did like VFX trailers and things like that. That was then employed by BBC or BBC Studios to do the intro graphics for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor.
Oh, is that right?
Era, should I say. I believe so. If anyone has anything on the contrary, feel free to let me know. And I really liked that. But so they do bring people in. It's not unheard of, but it's not. It seems like, okay, I'm going to just completely reword it.
Do you think they only do things like that under duress because they're aware?
No.
Because if it gives the impression that anybody can put this stuff together, then they'll all be out of work. They won't be able to charge their extortionate rates. We know how much wastage is at the BBC, for example. I think the only people that waste more money than the BBC are local councils.
I don't think it's under duress as such. I mean, you've got a brand manager that was a very big Doctor Who fan when he was younger, and
yeah, he does seem like a nice guy.
Yeah, he does. I'm not going to ever take that away from him. That was great. So they do that, but the problem I've got is that whoever's doing I don't even know what you'd call it. This is so how out of whack I am with TV and media. But the sort of plans and projects they've got, I just want to know who fronts it, because I don't get it. But then again, we had Sidney Newman who thought that it was going to be bad if they had bug-eyed monsters, and that changed. But I just, whoever's fronting this, like we've said so many times now, there's no heart in it, there's no passion in it. And I feel like if it was true fans that were really dedicated to it, they would be. And in fact, no, I didn't. I'm lying, because I even said that even if you're not a fan, you'd put passion and time into it because it is your work. So do they just not know what they're doing? Do they just not have a clue of what to do now, where to go? Because they've got a showrunner, they've got BBC, which is such a massive place to work, where they don't know what they're doing.
Do you think there's any truth in the idea? Because I hear this spoken a lot on YouTube in particular, where people gather together to talk about the culture war, that channels and platforms now are more interested in simply having content, to the point where they don't necessarily mind what it is, and they don't put their hearts and souls into it anymore, because they've got, not just because they've got deadlines to make, but they've got a quota of content to manifest. The creative process doesn't matter. It matters that it's there and that people can hit play to go on to the next chunk, or their attention be taken by something else at the top of a menu somewhere.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, because everyone wants everything yesterday. So that wouldn't surprise me, but it's quality over quantity, you know, as the old age thing. Age-old thing, I should say. That's what matters to people.
I like how she says old age and looks at me.
No, I never would, Daniel. Come on.
Please like the video. Feel sorry for me. Please like the video after that burn from the lovely show. Please like the video.
Well, do you know what? That's what you get. That's what you get for the intro you gave me a couple of weeks ago. So there you go.
That was a good one. I watched that back and I thought, see what I do. I laugh at my own jokes all the time. A terrible habit. Terrible. It was good. The look on your face, even better. Tony L says, I think this is good though, Charlotte. I think the Fugitive Doctor multimedia thing would be a good bridge between the last era of Doctor Who to what's coming, the RTD era, the all new era. So there's a bit of support there. At least people get. I'm not saying I would necessarily want that myself. I'm very indifferent to the Fugitive Doctor. All that does nothing for me. But as a premise, I think it would have been a solid place to go, rather than create this character, turn it into a game. Speculates Gary. I mean, games are harmless enough. Ian Gettings is here too. Hiya, Ian. It doesn't feel like an edition of any Type 40 branded show now, and with at least one person called Ian kicking about, doesn't it? So Ian Gettings said it's not really felt like an anniversary year at all. Well, the BBC novels doing a different consecutive classic Doctor for each month has been good. But I forgot. See, I'd totally forgotten about those books. If anything, they should be, in my view, they should be playing up those books, and they probably should have. Again, oh God, see, you can't talk about this without sounding like you're throwing shade on people. The writers on those books are good writers. People like Una McCormack, Trevor Baxter, good writers. Yeah. But in some ways, I think they could have gone bigger with that line of books and made every single one feel like a major launch. I'm talking like not quite maybe a Harry Potter book launch, but not far off. I think they should be thinking far, far bigger with the literary stuff and putting them out in glossy hardbacks than you can find in every single supermarket, and let people know that this is Doctor Who's 60th anniversary and this stuff matters. So I don't know if you've seen the covers to them. They're beautiful, lovely bits of art. But if you just see it in a bookshop, you think, well, what's that? Looks like it's an ink blot test.
I mean, I guess the only. I appreciate books because where is the passion? I appreciate books because I love looking after them, and that's why I have them. And I love that. I'm not really one for a Kindle, but I look because I just love that. But it is dying. That's the problem, and it's a massive shame that it's dying in the way that it is. People aren't interested in picking up a book anymore. At least not my generation, sadly, are interested in picking up a book anymore.
Is that really what you found? You found because your generation would have been the original kind of Harry Potter kids, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we grew up with that sort of thing. But I'm more talking. I'm not saying my generation's a problem as such, but I think the problem is. I mean, I'm 28, and I think that from being at my age, it was very, very quick where everything became digital and everything was online. Everything, like it blew up, didn't it? Within like 5 years,
yeah, I suppose it did.
Well changed. So I had the sort of weird time where I had the sort of board games and books and what are they called? Sega Mega Drives. I remember those. Yeah. And then instantly going into this massive place of like I say, digital stuff where
everything went hyper, everything went meta, touch screen,
exactly. So I just think that do you really go into a bookshop anymore and think, I'll pick that up, or do you think, I'll go home and download that because I can get it for like 79p online? It's one of those. So as much as I appreciate that, but it's funny that you say things like people should be hyping up. I went into Forbidden Planet in Covent Garden Leicester Square, sorry, maybe a week ago, and there is nothing Doctor Who related.
Really?
Nothing. I
Forbidden
went
Planet?
up to, in Forbidden Planet. I went up to one of the guys and said, I thought I was in the right section, because Doctor Who was Doctor Who was a very outlined section. You knew where it was, in Leicester Square. And I said, can you show me to the Doctor Who section? He was like, yeah, sure. And it was just one tiny wall, maybe the width of, well, you can't, it's not really relative on it, but it was very small. This column, and it had a t-shirt and some, it had coasters, a t-shirt and some magnets. Nothing to do with 60th. Nothing that I would buy. It had one with William Hartnell's face on it. That's fine. But that was it. And I was so shocked.
No pop vinyls or anything like that?
No, nothing. No figures, no Funko Pops, nothing. I was so surprised. Where is it?
Where are you, Doctor? Where is it?
Or have we completely lost it and we're the only ones who still like it? Because I was honestly so surprised. I couldn't believe it. And I went, is this it? And he was like, yeah. And I thought, you know what? Well, I can't say anything. It's just, you're a guy at work, so I'm not going to say anything. But what?
And give him a hard time.
I would never. But I just couldn't quite get my nut round it. So,
I can't get my nut round this from TARDIS TV. TARDIS TV is new to Doctor Who. Welcome to Doctor Who TARDIS TV. Hope you're loving it. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Type 40.
Hello. I'm so envious that you're new. That's amazing.
It's exciting, isn't it? And if you're making content,
so exciting.
let us know what you make and where you make it. If you're having conversations about it, if you're talking about it somewhere, please let us know. Let them know in the live chat too, and drop us a comment as well. We'll go and look at your stuff. Have a look at your videos. If you're doing something creative, that'd be fantastic. More people,
welcome.
Survivors of that awful trailer. And people agree with you about the hype, the non-existent hype. Hale says zombie box reviews.
That sounds like somebody else. That's me to a T.
The Geeks Handbag said the 5 Doctors was pure class. Brilliant. Just catching up on the live chat while we've been rambling on, Shah.
Oh.
At least it's made sense this time. Doesn't always.
We'll watch this back and it will make no sense.
So what are we talking about?
What are we doing? Are we drunk again? Hello, Martin.
Corvin says, I only got around to listening to Redacted this spring. I liked it. We found you. Congratulations, Corvin. I'm glad I'm glad you enjoyed it. But I felt the overall story wasn't terribly memorable and didn't resolve in a satisfying way for me. That's helpful. Because what I heard. What else? A great intro from 2 weeks ago. Thank you. They got long memories, our crowd. They haven't blotted it all out. I'm surprised they don't drink to forget. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the cloister bell, all that jazz.
Yes, don't forget. You're having too much fun.
We have far too much fun. This was supposed to be an hour-long breezy chat. We're here nearly an hour and a half later. Peter Cushing's Doctor as the Meta-Crisis Doctor, grown older from a parallel reality. On audio, maybe a David Tennant, but all these ideas. But look, Mark,
all these things
keep coming. So much creativity, inspiration. Look at the passion there, just in that sentence. Mark has had a better time banging out that comment here in our comment section on YouTube than I feel that James Goss had hitting that word count on that bloody awful Doomsday story. Bless his heart.
What are you doing? A uni bit of coursework? What was it? Word count. Doing his dissertation.
We've got a comment here from Doc Martin, armchair time traveller. Says, I work in a primary school and not one child, not one, has an interest in Doctor Who. I think that's the saddest indictment of where we are now. I couldn't agree more. Scott's also a big fan of books in the game closet. He's got another icon again. He's doing this on purpose now.
You are. You're just doing it to confuse him, Scott, and you're doing a really good job of it as well.
I'm very easily confused. I love books, he says. Give me the physical book, the beauty of it, the ability to place a bookmark, and I don't have to charge a book. It doesn't cost me money by existing. I never looked at it like that.
I never did. That's a beautiful way of looking at it. Well said.
Our punters are clever, aren't they?
Oh, well, yeah, definitely.
They're the best.
They are the best. So I was just wanting to go back to... Oh, go on, sorry.
Well, Adam here is chiming in on your comments on, because Adam, obviously, the Geeks Handbag, he is a merchandise expert, a sniper of all things geek. And I would imagine that he knows those shelves and aisles of Forbidden Planet only too well. And he says Forbidden Planet have been doing some nice 60th stuff online, but he's not sure how much of it has made it to the stores. Absolutely sweet Fanny Adams by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully I went there and they hadn't had their delivery yet. That's all I'm hoping. But every time I've been there before, there's been heaps of stuff. I mean, my God, the amount of stuff me and Ian bought when we went last time. Like, there's stuff there. Yeah, she said with a grimace when her credit card kept beeping, and I thought, oh my God, it's going to decline at some point. So it is still there to be done. I just don't know where it's gone. I was well on to getting a collection, which is this bloody camera, which is very much unlike me. But oh, hello, Ian. Oh, was it you that I went with? I like going to London. Okay, read it out then.
Well, you read it out. Go on, you take that one.
Oh God. Okay, I've never done this before. Wow, a highlight of going to London used to be going to Forbidden Planet. Shocked if there's a little Who stuff there. If you ever do make, and this goes for anybody, if you ever do come down to London, please do let me know if you go in there and you do find stuff, because I could be completely wrong and I've just gone on a terrible day. But it was only a couple of weeks ago, because every time I'm around Leicester Square or Covent Garden, which is quite regular with my work, I have to. It
turns out that you just didn't see, because the Doctor Who section is now sort of behind the bins next to the disabled toilet as you're getting through to the overflow car park or something like that.
Oh no, don't say that.
There's a member of staff just vaping stood next to it. Now and again someone nudges him to grab a TARDIS money box down from the dusty shelf.
That imagery was gorgeous. I
have my moments.
But please don't manifest it, Dan. Not in the state it's in right now, my God.
We've got this one here from the Gallifreyan Night. We're going all over the map now. How likely do you think a 60th anniversary convention will be? The 50th celebration convention in 2013 was an absolute joy, and I think this is something a lot of fans will be really excited about. I've heard that it's coming, an announcement is coming, but I think, given the fact, here we are again, you see, Shah, I hear that something's coming.
We've both just had our head in our hands, so I'm sorry.
But we're now 6 months into the year. People budget for Christmas, don't they? And at the end of the day, people start thinking about, and particularly now where everything costs more, so you may look at the calendar and say, okay, I'm going on holiday. I've got 2 weeks in Magaluf then. There's so-and-so's getting married then. I need to get them a decent present. You got this, you got that, you got the other. Maybe I'm going to a convention that weekend that's going to knock a hole in 200 quid or 300 quid, whatever. People need to know now, if there is going to be a convention, particularly if it's something as lavish as the 50th was, to not only because they want to book it in advance, but you're going to want to take a few quid. You're going to want to really make it a memorable occasion. If you've got children, of course you're going to want to take the kids. You know, if you take the missus or take your fella, you got to pay for them to go off and do whatever they're doing as well. You know, so it's not exactly. You can't just spring this on people, and yet I feel that's what the BBC will do.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it's most likely going to be in London, which means you're going to have to pay a hell of a lot just to be there. You go there for the experience, and sometimes you do think, you know what, I'll pay it because I want to do it. But yeah, most likely
in the moment, like when you went to London with Ian, you were in the moment with you were with a friend, and you think, you would actually throw caution to the wind, but you think, I'm having a really good time, and I'm making memories. Yeah.
Because I can always earn more money, can't I? You can't always get those back, so. Well, I say earn more money like
that's why we have her on, everybody. Gold, absolute gold like that. Great stuff. I do cosplay, Doctor Who edits and reviews. I also show my updates on my Doctor Who collection as TARDIS TV. So as TARDIS TV is discovering the Whoniverse, sounds like they're documenting it for us on YouTube too. So please, let us know some more. Yeah, it's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah, get in touch with us, and I'd love to see the sniper of all things geek says. I think we tickled Adam's fancy there. We do like to make people laugh. You do need a mortgage for there. I think he's talking about conventions there. It could be.
Yeah, the irony is no one has a mortgage in London because we're all skipped. But, yeah.
Gary wants to see more photos of Shah and Ian on another shopping spree.
Gary, you were there when we showed you our little haul. I'm sure we did. Sure.
And
yeah,
we've got one from Charlotte here who says, "And summer is upon us. It needs announcing yesterday if it's happening." I think, I completely agree. They've got to stop treading water with all of this stuff now. And to be fair, if they can't show us what they've got coming, I get it. But they need more than wheeling out a drag queen, some geezer from musicals who, let's face it, a lot of us have never heard of, and all these things that Russell's excited about. Bless him. I love that he's excited about them, but we need some more. We definitely need some more. Mm-hmm. They shot the Web of Fear Yeti shootout just round the corner from Forbidden Planet, and it hasn't changed that much. So Adam's given you a bit of a insight there into Doctor Who.
Thank you so much, Adam. Appreciate it. You
can find it. Yeah, keep the comments coming, everybody. Let us know what you think of it all. Our musing over the last half an hour, I think, kind of a mild therapy between the Geeky Rambler and myself. There, we've been rambling and geeking. It's good stuff, though. I think we may have helped one another and processed some of this, because
I think we did.
It doesn't. A lot of this stuff that's going on doesn't make a great deal of sense. I don't enjoy giving Doomsday a good kick in every time I mention it, and I like the fact that I'm here. Well, just a little, but I like the fact that I'm here for all our friends in the live chat on YouTube and Facebook there, because even if you're saying the same thing over and over again, it's a kind of therapy, because none of us can really understand why they're doing the stuff that they're doing, why they're dribbling all this stuff out. Lord Thothson, people, this is where people are, and I can't say that he's wrong to feel like that. It's June, and it's all been awful news, and on aggregate, he's probably right. I can't say he's not. Oh, and Scott.
No.
Scott wants to he's going one better. He doesn't just want to see photos. He wants to go on a shopping trip with you and the Mega Geek. And well, there you are. There's an offer and a half.
Apparently, it's just me and Scott. You're not invited, so.
Yeah, well, I was expecting that. What do you?
I would love to see you. Would love to see you.
Shall we take a look at a pretty picture before we depart? I think we should.
Please, I'd love to.
Yeah. How about it? Yeah, I like these. Andy Walker is a seasoned Doctor Who artist. His works appeared in fanzines and plenty of published professional work too now for several decades. And this is his painting of the episode Rose, of that comeback episode from 2005, Christopher Eccleston, with those sort of steely, haunted eyes, and Billy Piper perfectly captured there. I think. What do you make?
Yeah. It's made me. We were talking about nostalgia earlier, weren't we? And things that make you think, I loved that time. That's such a good. I actually never watched Rose first. When I first watched it, I started on the. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm knocking everything out. I actually started on the Unquiet Dead episode 2 or 3. I can't even remember. Let me just rejiggle. Bear with me 2 seconds.
Episode 3. Let's let Shah jiggle in private, and we'll. This 20 years on. 20 years on, this looks to me like this is Doctor Who, and I've seen a lot of them come and go. I think that's Doctor Who. That evokes. It doesn't mean that it's any more or less Doctor Who than any other version, apart from one.
No.
But it just evokes something in me. It stirs something up. How I felt then. I know those characters. I know who they are.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you know exactly what episode it is.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You know exactly what's going on. You know exactly where it's from. It's so distinct. And I miss Christopher Eccleston. I know that there's a lot of things.
How is this possible? How can we still miss this guy after 18 years? But I do as well.
There you go. It just proves how brilliant he was. Garbage. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, but I miss him, and I think he had that melancholy in his acting and his performance, but it was still very charming and funny. And I do miss that. I mean, I love Matt Smith and I love Capaldi, I love Tennant, but yeah, there's something about this Doctor. It was dark in a sort of mysterious way. There we go back to mystery, bang on. I think I've just hit
there was a lightness to it as well, though, wasn't there? It just seemed to know exactly when to change hats, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, very good. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Absolutely. Watch all of Doctor Who in 6 months. Yes. Fair enough.
Wow.
Okay.
6 months.
Are we talking new? Because even new, that's very difficult to do. But okay.
I'm
11 period.
I'm the world's slowest binge watcher. This is self-proclaimed. I'm happy to wear that badge of shame because it's true. But the idea that you could watch all of Doctor Who in 6 months just slightly blows my mind.
When did you go for a toilet break? When did you sleep? But fair play.
No idea. Very, very impressive stuff. Night 11 appearing is my absolute dream.
Oh, Charlotte.
That's from Charlotte.
Of course it is. Know exactly what she's referring to there.
People love this picture. Looks like the cover from one of the later Target novels. It does a little, doesn't it? And one of the Blue Spine ones, maybe. Ace Pictures as Tony Owl. We miss him. So we're talking about Christopher Eccleston. And Lord Thoth speculates we miss him because look what we've had the last 5 years. I sympathise with that. I don't think that's true. I think it's because there was more, and I think personally it's the same for me with Matt Smith too. I think there was gas left in the tank. I think it was unfinished business. Chris Eccleston didn't want to work in that culture anymore. I think he would have wanted to play the characters some more, and that's what it is. And I think that translates as well and transmits even after all this time. Yeah, that's how I feel anyway. Shah, what about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think he would have happily carried on playing the Doctor. Maybe not indefinitely, not for a long time either, but certainly a couple years. I don't think he was ever meant to do one series and run. In fact, we know he wasn't. And no. I think it takes a lot of balls from somebody to leave because of a culture when it's something like the BBC, when you could be blacklisted like that.
I can't remember the ins and outs of him, but I believe that he was actually he was initially allegedly contracted for 2 seasons. So in which case something drastic, really drastic would have happened. And like I say, I wouldn't like to speculate because I don't know. But I've been told several times that Eccleston was locked in for a 2-season stretch as the Doctor. Tony L says, I miss Eccleston and Capaldi. I hope they come back one day.
One day they'll come back.
Woodhouse 122. They're all shaming us now. Started last November on a new Who rewatch, and Woodhouse 122 is up to series 9 at the moment. So even that is absolutely that's compared to how I would be. And yeah, we've got this question here from Gallifrey Night, which I'm not going to go into now because I think we talk about this on Type 40 live every Thursday.
We do.
Here on
Thursday.
Well, I think we've answered this question before, and we probably will again. So please, Gallifrey Night, if you haven't already,
probably on Thursday,
this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing all those conversations, all those touchstones that we as Doctor Who fans keep going back to over and over again. All those conversations we leave spinning, don't we? And I suppose the way I see it, Shai, if we could close these conversations down permanently, then we wouldn't be able to go back to them and have fun saying the same things all over again and getting bickering and all the things that Doctor Who fans do best. I heard he was in for 2 years too, says Lord Thoth, and Adam says here that Chris was a great Doctor. But he's annoyed me in recent interviews, banging on about his demands if we want him back, and him saying Jodie was the best. Yeah, I mean, this is Jodie and Chris have worked together.
Adam, I would love. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again. Adam, I'd love to have a conversation with you about that. Not in a let's have a fight, but I would love to just have a conversation with you about that because I'm really intrigued by that.
Well, Adam was on the show. Was on the show last week, and unfortunately he missed you.
It was nice to see him.
Maybe we'll get you together on the next one. Who knows?
Maybe.
We'll talk about binge watching and all manner of things at the 60th anniversary. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, everybody, on this Type 40 extra with Shah and myself. Thank you, Shah, for coming on. I've had a brilliant time, and we've covered quite a lot more subjects than we thought, haven't we?
Yeah. I would say I'm surprised, but this is what we do when we're just talking, even if it's not about Doctor Who. We've been on FaceTime and we looked at the time, we've gone on fire, so that went on way longer than expected. So yeah, that is in a nutshell, and I love doing the panel shows on Thursdays. But it's been lovely just to sort of chat with you one-on-one, and then everyone in the chat. It's been great. I've loved it. Don't
miss Type 40 Live this Thursday at 8 p.m. as always, the first of a couple of parties that we've been planning for quite a while. It's going to be a belter. It's going to be very, very 80s themed. It's going to be multicolored. There may even be a guest or two. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a laugh. You know what our event shows are like. It's the first one we've done in a little while. This one's been I'm looking forward to this because it's very much my sweet spot. But there'll be lots of people there'll be lots of things too for those of you who aren't 80s kids, as always. So don't miss that, coming at 8 p.m. Hit the cloister bell so you'll get the notifications. You won't need to remember then, will you? And whilst we cannot force the BBC to manifest all the component parts of the 60th anniversary, the conventions, the specials, everything else that we're speculating about, we can't make that go any quicker. We can't force them to do that, but we can, for our part, bring you more great conversations here on Type 40 Extra, Type 40 Live, and the Type 40 podcast. So yes, stay tuned. Come and find us. Don't miss the next one. Heaven knows what it'll be about here on Type 40 Extra. But thank you to everybody who's been dropping comments. Mind you, they're still coming. People can't get enough.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It really has.
The pleasure of it is ours.
Oh, beautiful. That was.
How lovely is this?
I'm so glad.
Thank you. And Tony
I love this so much, though. Oh, thank you, Tony.
They're a good bunch, aren't they? Great stream,
they really
guys.
Are.
Yeah, good bunch. So that's it. Doctor Who is still filming as we speak. Shooter Gatwa is back in the afro wig. There's been some great photos where you can actually see how they've glued it to the poor man's head. So that's good stuff. So Doctor Who is still out there filming, and we've got all that covered too. So yeah, come and check us out. Get in touch through our social medias, Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who, or join us in the comments section and pick up on some of the threads of the various things that Charlotte and I have been talking about on this edition of Type 40 Extra. But yeah, that's it for this time. It's time to curl up, I think, with something hot. I don't know why I laughed.
Congratulations. You know why you laughed. Shut up. Oh God, let's go before we get quick our ahead.
To go and curl up and to leave you guys in peace. But yeah, please like the video if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel. Check you're still subscribed, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for your company as always, Shah. It's been a delight, and for all those comments in the comment section too. So yeah, we always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40. That's it for another one. We'll see you again in a few days' time for Type 40 Live.
Bye.
Take care. No night.